So we're going to cover table of contents, indexing, and footnotes. Those three things. Those are some, kind of technical things that we can cover and go over quite easily. So, first of all, the table of contents. What's the value of a table of contents? Where does it go? What should you include on it? What do you do about pictures and illustrations? So, first of all, where does a table of contents go? Where do you think is the best place to go? Right in front of the book. Right after what? After the title page. So it needs to come after the title page. And you can some people like to put a dedication page in. Sometimes if you have a dedication, usually that will come before the table of contents. And then the table of contents will normally come next, but some people want to do acknowledgments and they want that to come before the table of contents. There's no one right way to place it. But typically you want it very, very early in the book. So the table of contents is not a rigid place that it needs to be, but it needs to be really close to that front. And the reason being is people are going to look for it. And why are they going to look for it? What's the value of the table of contents? What does it do for the reader? It'll get them where they want, if they're looking for something particularly. What else? What other value does it have? Exactly. It tells you what's included, what order it comes in to help keep it logical for you. You get a snapshot view of what's in that book. So it's just very valuable to have a table of contents. And then pictures. Some people like to have a list of illustrations, and that should be separate from the table of contents. If you're going to have a list of illustrations, you want that separate. If you're not going to list all of the pictures in the book, but just maybe 2 or 3 key pictures, then put that on the table of contents. Whether to do it manually or automate, it's a good question. Some people ask me that and wonder, should I make it so it does it automatically, or do I do it manually? There are ways to do it automatically. These are some clips. These are some shots from Word, where you use these headings. It's called style sheets. There's styles that are called heading 1, heading 2, heading 3. And if you use those, you can say, okay, I want the table of contents to be automatically generated. And it will do that. I'm going to recommend that you do a table of contents manually. There's several reasons why. One is you just have more control on it. And you'll just want to kind of look through that and get it typed up, and you'll know what the chapters are, and you can format it the way you want it, get the look the way you want it. I'm going to show you a few examples here in a minute. If you do it automatically, you just have less control. Some people say, well, I'll forget to, put the right page numbers if I just do it manually. Well, if you forget to update after you've made some changes, if you forget to update the table of contents, you still have the old ones on there anyway. So it's a catch-22 both ways. There are some times when an automated table of contents is very valuable. If you've got a very fluid book that's changing a lot, which family histories usually aren't, but like a software manual or something like that, it's very valuable to have an automated table of contents. Don't do the dots manually. Do them with a tab, with what's called a dot leader, because then they'll all line up and it looks really nice. If you just do them manually, they won't line up and it doesn't look as nice. And I can show you how to do that another time. It's called a dot leader. It's just a tab setting. Now I just want to show you some samples. These are just some samples out of books that we have done for people. And you can see, on this one they've got, the chapters here, and then what the chapter is. Here's your dot leader, and they're all, it's all lined up. This you can tell this is, because those dots all lined up, you can tell that's done with that tab setting. Here's another one where they've done chapters, and then they've done sub-chapters. They actually call these sections, and then they've just done sub-chapters. Okay? So this is a little bit more extensive. Now, we're going to talk about indexes in a minute, but you know, a lot of people say, well, do I have to do an index? And you know, because it's just really just my life, and it's there. And I say, if you're not going to do an index, then do a very detailed table of contents, because the idea is to share it with the reader, and they're going to look for in the index for where that is. And if there's not an index, the next thing they're going to look is on the table of contents to see if they can get a clue as to where that is. So a very detailed table of contents would be a very valuable thing if you didn't have an index. Again, here's just some more examples of, you know, different styles. They've got the chapter over here, a little space, and then they've got the title of the book, the title of the chapter, and then the page number. Here's one where it's just all compressed together. They're not using the word chapter at all on it. It's just the title. There's no one right way to do it. You can decide which way you like to do it best. Here's one where they don't use the word chapter, but they have the number of the chapter, and then the title, and then there's no dot leader here. Okay, so there's no dot leader, but because you can see how they spaced it. That way you can follow the line across. If these were together and you didn't have a dot leader, back here it'd be hard to follow across. But because they've spaced it, it works. Here's another one, again, just another example. This one, you can see it's not on there. It's a little bit hard. And this is what I wanted to show you. But again, they did do something good, and that is that they've got it very detailed. You know, they've got a lot of detail there. They've got, you know, you can see it just goes a few pages and then it goes on to the next one. And then here's another one where they've got subsections for some of it, because this is a long chapter, and so they've got subsections to each of these chapters. These are shorter chapters, so they didn't feel like they needed subsections on it. And this one's done, you know, caps here and upper and lower here. So a lot of different styles. If you're looking for ideas, you can just look through some books until you find one that you like. Here's a couple more. So this one, again, has got the dot leader on it. This one is from, looks like Dad's Porter book. So this is done with the typewriter instead of a computer. But you can see how it's got the subsections in. And so it lists, this was a descendant one, so it lists each of the children. The table of contents is to help people to find what they need.